What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with some factoring of trinomials with the lead coefficient of 1 in this video. And this one's got a couple different street names. Some call it AM method, like add, multiply. They also call it reverse FOIL. Whatever you call it, we're going to work on it here. And you might be thinking, wait, lead coefficient of 1? What's up with that guy? I'll tell you about that later. All right, first one. I want to multiply to the constant, add to the coefficient of the linear term, which is why a lot of people call it AM method, because they put a little M up here for multiply and A up here for add. So what two numbers multiply to 6 and add to 5? Well, let's list out our factors of 6. I've got 1 and 6, and I have 2 and 3. Now, everything's positive here, so these numbers are going to be positive. What pair of these adds to 5? It's the 2 and the 3. So I'm going to have x plus 2 and x plus 3. That is my fully factored form. Boom, first one done. Now, if that 5x was a 7x, I would have picked the 1 and the 6, right? If that 5x was negative, I would have made both of these subtraction. All right, we're going to go through all of these in this these 4 problems here. We should be able to work out all the kinks, all right? Next one, I have x squared minus 8x plus 12. So what multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 8? AM method. So let's list out our factors of 12. I've got 1 and 12. I have 2 and 6, and if you see it there, you can stop. But yes, it is going to be this middle one right here, 2 and 6. Now, once you get good at factoring, you have a lot of practice in factoring, you may not even need to write these down. But at first, I highly suggest listing out your factors of those numbers. Helps you visualize it, helps you stay organized, and helps you be successful in the factoring world. Because factoring is like the most important thing in math, not in real life, okay? But you're going to remember this for the rest of your life. Everybody remembers how to factor. You'd be like, hey, you remember how to factor? Somebody like 30 years old and be like, yeah, like this? Trust me, okay? But it is the most important thing in math class. It comes back in every single math class. Geometry, Algebra 2, pre-calc, college algebra, calculus. It never goes away, right? So learn how to factor. Rant over. So we're going to do, let's see here. We've got 2 and 6, but this time, like I was saying on the last example there, they both need to be negative here. Right, because I'm going to have to add to negative 8x, but it multiplies still to a positive 12. And you might be wondering, like, because I know a lot of kids will often ask, like, wait, what happened to the 8x? What happened to the 12? Where did it go? Well, this right here, this form, and you don't have to do this every time, but it is a nice way to check. If I were to multiply this out, right, distribute, and I multiplied x times x, I'd get x squared. If I multiplied x times negative 6, I get negative 6x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12. And when I combine my like terms, oh my goodness, I get back to the original problem. All right, so this is called factored form. This is called standard form, or general form, some call it. All right, they each serve their own purpose, and you'll see it more when you actually get to, say, graphing. You can use factored form to get your x-intercepts. You can use standard form to easily see your y-intercept if this was a function of sorts. All right, so factoring has its purpose. It's applied in different ways. Right now, we're just practicing the nitty-gritty of factoring. All right, next one. Oh boy, I got a negative constant. That's exciting. This is very exciting stuff. So let's see here. I'll do orange for this one. I got x squared plus 5x minus 14. So let's list out our factors of 14. I got 1 and 14. I have 2 and 7. I have no others, okay? Now, one of these numbers needs to be negative in order to multiply to negative 14. But it's got to add to positive 5x, excuse me. So which one of these two has a difference of 5? That would be our 2 and our 7. Now I need to pick which one's going to be negative. Well, since this is positive 5x, I want the 2 to be negative. Negative 2 plus 7 is positive 5. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Yay! And I'm going to have x minus 2, x plus 7. Fully factored form. Boom. If that was a negative 5x, the positive and negative signs would switch. Cool? That's about it. Last one. This is the one we were talking about. We're like, what's going on with that, man? There's a lead coefficient of 3, not 1 like you said. You guys remember GCF? Perhaps you just watched my video on factoring with the greatest common factor if you're in the playlist mode of factoring right now. We can factor out a 3, right? All 3 of these numbers are divisible by 3. So I'm going to take a 3 out and rewrite it as x squared minus 2x minus 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. Now, we got to multiply to this guy and add to that guy. Oh boy. Factoring in factoring. GCF, greatest common factor, can come into play in any factoring scenario. So always have that one in your back pocket ready to rock and roll. So what multiplies to -3 and adds to positive or to -2? Let's do this without writing out our factors. The only factors of 3 are 3 and 1. So it's going to be -3 and +1. Why did I pick -3? -3 and +1 multiplies to -3. -3 plus 1 adds to that -2, right? It's got to do the combo thing. You got to think about two things at the same time, which makes it difficult. That's why factoring is a bit of a challenge, but I promise you, with practice, eventually it just clicks. All right, you might not think so when you're early on in this. You're like, I just can't get it. Every student always says, like, they're like, one day it just clicked. It didn't make sense to me for the longest time, and all of a sudden I just got it. And people, like, my friends told me that. They said, like, just stick with it. It'll click eventually, and it does, okay? Practice it. I got a ton of videos on factoring. Eventually, you're going to be factoring and solving, and you're going to have factoring come back all over the place. But there you go, guys. Hope that helps. If you like the video, like the video. Comment if you have any questions, or if you want something else or wonder if I have a video on that. Happy to supply one for you guys. Otherwise, have a great day, and thanks for watching.